Whether you're trying to get better performance out of your truck or seeking a more practical setup, there's an engine swap out there for you. The question is, what's your best solution? Well, hello my friends. I'm Kevin, your trusty guide for everything about custom trucks. And in this video, I want to talk about engine swaps for lower trucks. I'm here at Old Anvil Speed Shop to discuss this topic, as the crew here has plenty of experience swapping in power plants for many different reasons, but mostly to put smiles on our faces. So let's dig in. Alrighty, well we got Paul here from Old Anvil, and he's going to discuss engine swaps with us. Paul, you've done a lot of swaps, different models, a lot of different vehicles. For the Ford trucks, what are the best solutions, or what are popular solutions for engine swaps on those trucks?
Well, start off, we could look at like some of the old vintage stuff, some of those 60s and 70s motors. You can update those and they'll work really well, and a lot of it's still available. The the Windsor platform or the big block platform, either one, you can get so many aftermarket parts to bring them up to modern. That's really a great swap, especially if you're got an early 60s truck with a say a Y block or something in it. It definitely makes a difference to go up to a Windsor or a big block. But then of course you can always step up to a Coyote or a Godzilla, because you can get those brand new in a crate or even a really low mileage pullout. And there's tons of aftermarket stuff for those now too. So you can just add all this technology without spending a ton of money, or you can even go beyond that and make tons of power with it.
My question is, what are the power differences between the old school, like a 351, and going with a 5.0 Coyote? And what are the costs in comparison to all that? Is it obviously probably cheaper to go with the older small block, right?
In some circumstances, but really the head technology that they have in the newer motors is what really brings it to a new level. You're making all this power, but it can run efficiently. The cooling systems are better. There's so many upgrades, but you can still get you can take that old vintage look and make it more modern, but it just can't quite get to where the new ones are. But that's just a decision you'd have to make, and it's all kind of based on what you want or your budget.
All right, well, we know that Coyotes are a good solution, and if you want to find out more about Coyote swaps, I did a previous video on them with my buddy Jason over at Fat Fender Garage, so you can check that out. Click the link in the description below. But my question for Paul is, it's still king to have a Ford and a Ford, or are there other solutions that people are using maybe to save money or get better power?
Well, LSs are always a great swap. It's kind of like the small block Chevy was back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
The LS just has kind of been the king of swaps because they're so economical. They're still just a standard push rod motor. You don't have a lot of extra stuff. They're very basic. It just makes them a little more economical, and you get a lot of power out of them.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't really go against the grain too much. In fact, I'm shooting an F100 today that's got an LS under the hood. And some people may not like it and think it's sacrilegious, but it goes back to old school hot rodding. I mean, guys were putting in small block Chevys into hot rods, and it just that was the way of things. Now you do have some guys that are true to nostalgia and traditionalists that are putting in flatheads into these old hot rods and stuff like that. I don't think that's kind of a thing with the trucks, because flatheads don't really make up too much power. When you got a hot rod, it's a little bit easier. Those vehicles are pretty light. Trucks are pretty heavy, so you need something a little more stout. But yeah, I think that there's many different solutions. If you want to go with something with Ford, I think it's going to cost you a little bit more. You can go with Chevy and just disregard all comments and all the haters, and just have a solution for you. So moving on, we've discussed Fords and some of the solutions for those. Have you worked on some Dodge vehicles in the past? And what are some, let's say if you want to put a Chrysler motor in a Dodge, keep it true to everything that the truck was, maybe do something a little bit better in the truck. What are some of the popular swaps on those trucks?
A Hemi. What else is there?
Yeah.
Gotta have a Hemi.
Now, old school or new school Hemi?
That is, whatever you like. I'd take both of them.
I guess maybe whatever fits. What's better for, let's say, budget purposes? Is old school or new school better for budget reasons?
Actually, the Hemi, it's probably cheaper to go with a newer one because you can get one already, you know, a takeout or even the crates. The old school stuff, they are so big and so race proven that they're pretty expensive to build an older one.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot. I mean, there's like the Hell crate that comes supercharged. So I know that's got a ridiculous amount of power.
Oh, yeah.
Was it 800 horsepower or something like that?
Oh, at least, yeah, over that. The new Demons, you know, they're over 1,000.
Oh, jeez, that's just a lot of power. In my opinion, that's not something that's going to be for practical use. Maybe something for a show vehicle, race vehicle, something like that. I know that they do idle pretty well, but golly, that's a lot of power to put in a truck and to drive and to hold it down, because you're talking about, you get on that throttle and you tap it a little bit, you're probably burning out. And, you know, come a rainy day, that's a real struggle. Trust me, when it comes to high power and having less traction. You know what, but you know, hey, we got some Nitto tires out there. They do pretty well, but I still think that some of the really high-end horsepower is not practical. But hey, all the power to you if you want to do something like that. Now, with these newer Hemis, are transmissions an issue? I've heard in the past with several people that you know, they might not hold up with the power. Maybe you need to swap to something other than a Chrysler transmission. You tell me.
For transmissions wise, we try to stick with GM if we can.
Okay.
There's a lot of adapters out there. I'm actually not that familiar with all the Chrysler transmissions because we generally have to swap them out. But if it was up to me, I'd be putting a TKX 5-speed in it.
Yeah, a manual's going to hold up to more power anyways. But I think a lot in there's a lot of aftermarket support, like you said, on the Chevy end. So adapting one of those transmissions to a Dodge engine, if you're going to do that, I think is not out of the realm. I think that's pretty simple to do. That pretty much any shop can handle, right?
Yeah, we've done it on a bunch of Fords. Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a common swap.
Well, now that we've discussed solutions for Fords and Dodges, let's open the can of worms. Let's talk about Chevy. Everybody wants to hear about it. We have old school small blocks. We have old school big blocks. We have LS engines. We have LTs. What do you think is the best solution for trucks?
Yes, I love them all. We've installed them all. We've put fuel injection on all of them. I can't say as I have a preference really. We're really exploring the LT now. We've actually got some new parts coming out for LT stuff that makes it a really good swap because they're so readily available. I mean, they're brand new. You can pull them out of a wrecking yard, and of course I still love small block Chevy. It's been around since 1955, and it's just been proven. You know, there's new ways to seal them up and make them more modern. So why not? You know, if you want the old school look, then go for it. It'll work. Yeah,
and I don't know. I have some back and forth with that myself because I do have a small block in my 62 GMC, and it's got leaks. Honestly, it's got a lot of power, but then I don't feel it or think that I feel all that power, and I think a LS would be a better solution. You're talking about LT. Now, how practical is LT versus LS? You know, it is a more modern engine. It's got direct injection. Now, does that help out with performance possibilities?
Yeah, in fact, Brian Tooley Racing, who produces a lot of cams and all for them, he just went out and he figured out, yes, LT actually can make more power than an LS. He did a really good comparison of it because I thought they would lose power, but they don't. There's so many new products coming out. Holley has a kit for it now that you can run a Terminator X or Terminator X Max. You can do drive-by-wire, which eliminates, you don't have a idle air control valve. It eliminates a lot of problems that you can have. So to me, the LT is going to be the new LS. It's really coming along, and there's things you can do with that really work.
Yeah, my only concern with that is price when it comes down to it. And if you're on a budget, might not be the best solution. I would think probably a small block would be the best solution. And you can simplify those, right? You can put a carburetor on top of them and just run them. Get some fuel in there, air, spark, you're good to go, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, and then also you can add EFI to them as well, make them a little more modern and all of that. But back to LT, Are there any struggles? I know when they first came out, you know, quite a few years ago now. It's been longer than I think now, but I know that there were some issues with parts, and I think they don't come with, or when you pull them, they don't come with like a power steering pump and the accessory drive. You have to get a whole new one, right? Or is there some other solution?
Yeah, there is problems with that. One of the biggest things is transmissions, because most of them, if you get a pullout, they're going to come with like a 6 or an 8-speed. So then you kind of have to go with the GM controller, or there are some companies that make like a 8L90 controller, but you kind of have to go back to an old school. But if you're doing an engine swap, you might already have your old school transmission. The beauty of Chevrolet is the LT will bolt up to a 1955 transmission.
Oh, wow.
They still have the same bolt pattern around it, and you know, all you have to do is change flywheels or whatever to mate. So that's a huge advantage of the Chevrolet, is pretty much all the transmissions bolt up the same.
Wow, that's amazing, and it just kind of, I think it just kind of proves again that why it's so easy to swap in a Chevy or do anything with Chevy parts. There's just so much aftermarket support out there. There's a lot of people that have knowledge about them that you can pretty much go anywhere, turn to anyone, and get some information on them. Now, you have a truck of your own, I think, that's behind us. What truck is that?
It's a 66 C10.
All right. And you've got some handiwork in it. You did a swap yourself on this truck, right?
We actually built the chassis for it, and then we put an LS in it. Originally I had an LS1. It was the very first one. It was 1997. It came out of a Corvette. And I had issues with the oiling from day one. So then I put a new crate motor in it, which was very economical. I think it cost me about $5 grand for the long block. And it was, it's now a 5.7 liter iron block. And then I put the LS1 heads on it, so that it makes pretty good power.
All right. Well, I'm a little curious on how much power it makes and how the feel is driving it. So can we go for a ride and check it out?
Definitely.
All right, let's go. Oh, all right. Nice. It's nice and smooth too. Like I get on it, it wasn't like overboard too much.
No.
It wasn't like, hey, let's go, let's peel out, let's get silly or anything like that, but it probably could if I want to, right?
Oh
Whoa.
yeah.
Now, what transmission do you have in this thing?
A 4060.
Just feels great. I mean, we're going fast and it doesn't feel like it's hesitating at all. It goes. You put it down and it's like, okay, let's do it. All right, well, nobody in front of us. Let's see what this thing can do. Oh, yeah! Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Wow! Oh, that'll get your heart thumping right there. Man. Oh, nice job on this. I mean, really a nice truck. Drives great. Engine swap is amazing. Chassis is good on this thing. So, yeah, if you want to swap or anything like that, talk to Paul. Oh, brakes nice too. Is it manual brakes?
Yep.
Nice.
Willwood 12-inch brakes all the way around.
Transmission don't brake. What about rear end? What you got going back there?
It's a built 9-inch.
Nice. Perfect way to go.
We built it.
So, about my truck, I have a question. Yeah, I'm looking, obviously I'm looking to do an LS. I've got the TCI chassis, coilover chassis that's going to be going in my truck that you're going to put in it, as well as the engine. What should I be looking for? I'm thinking about doing a junker, finding something cheaper that's more budget friendly. What would you suggest I find? Any LS or? Yeah,
one of the truck LSs would be great.
So like a 5.3 would be all right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is actually a 5.3 block that's been bored to make it a 5.7.
Okay.
And
gotcha.
It has flat top pistons, which we get some compression out of it. So later down the road, you can always improve on it. But the 5.3 is plenty of power.
Yeah, and I think that's where my hiccup came from, is that I was kind of thinking about doing the swap and then possibly doing a supercharger. But I think for the time being, I think I just want to get an engine transmission in the truck, get it going, And then from there, I could talk about doing anything else, adding anything to it. If it's not enough power, if I want more, then I can do those modifications from there. And I think that's kind of the beauty of these engines, is that you can modify them. It's pretty easy to bolt anything on or switch anything out on them. So yeah, stay tuned. We're gonna be doing some more with my truck as well. So, wow, that was a wild ride, and big thanks out to Paul for letting me go along in his 66 C10 and enjoy that a little bit. But there's one swap that we haven't talked about so far, and that's EV swaps. Now, this has been a hot topic lately, as you know, there's been mandates in the future to possibly have only electric vehicles on the road. So a lot of people have been at the forefront to kind of be on top of that and be kind of the first or pioneer that technology into older vehicles and retrofit them, because we have that technology. So let's do it. But I don't think it's really buzzworthy anymore, because I think a lot of it has to do with the government kind of stepping back a little bit, not having their EV mandate in the future. They kind of realize that gas engines are going to be here to stay for quite some time, whether it's going to be hybrids or whatnot, maybe more sustainable fuels. So yeah, I don't think EV's kind of the way going forward, the best solution. It's also a bit expensive. I was talking to my buddy Rob Ward over at Legacy EV. He does a lot of those retrofits, and he was saying that a swap costs anywhere between $15,000 to $60,000, depending on how much power you want and the mileage range you want to get. With that being said, I think there's a huge benefit with an EV swap, as there's less maintenance. But on the other hand, there's no heart-thumping sound that you get out of a gas-powered engine, so it's a bit of a different experience. If you want to find out more about alternative fuels and engines, you can check out a previous video I did. I'll put the link to that in the description below. Well, that just about does it for this video, and it's time for me to sign off. Before I go, I want to thank you for watching this video. And if you got this far, you might as well hit that like button to help us out a little bit. And if you have anything to say on this topic, please feel free to drop a comment below. Also, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a future video. And we will catch you next time.
Thanks for watching Driving Line. If you guys like this video, consider subscribing to our channel so you'll never miss any of the content we create here. Whether you're into trucks, Jeeps, imports, domestic vehicles, or anything in between, we are here to fuel your passion. So hit that subscribe button and we'll see you guys next time.